Hello, good people, and welcome to Waffle TV. It's another bright new day, and we want to welcome you to today's lesson. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you can pause for a while and click the subscription button so that you won't miss any of our lessons. We do our best to provide you with at least 2 lessons a week, and we believe this is of benefit to you. Also, you can like and share our lessons so that others may equally benefit from this gesture. First and foremost, we want to thank everyone who contributed or participated in our donation for this year. We were able to help a good number of learners in local communities, and the videos will be yours in a short while from today. In our last lesson, we discussed ratios and we started with how to simplify and equally to compare ratios. We promised you that today we're going to look at how to increase and decrease in a given ratio, and that is the third title of our lesson today. By the end of the lesson, we should be able to increase or decrease a given quantity by a given ratio. With this, we must have learned something by the end of the day. Stay tuned as we pursue today's lesson and see how practically we can increase or decrease different quantities in given ratios. If you have any question, you can share your thought with us in the comment section so that we can improve on the service and equally we can make things better for all of us. Thank you for always being there. Here on the board we have our first example, and before this first example, let us read a description on what you are supposed to do if you have a certain quantity to increase in a given ratio. It reads thus: express the ratio as a fraction, and the numerator should be the larger number. Then you multiply this fraction by the given quantity. With this description, let us look at how we can apply this example in this. The first example says increase 12 kilograms in the ratio 4:3. With this, first we identify the quantity. What is the weight to be increased? Weight is equal to 12 kg, and the ratio is equal to 4:3. Therefore, increased weight will be equal to this as a fraction. The numerator should be the bigger number, which is 4 here over 3, and we multiply by the quantity to be increased, which is 12. You can express that over 1. 3 here 1 time, and 3 into 12 4 times. So our answer will be 4 times 4, which is 16 kg. If you look at our answer compared to the original quantity given, it is increased. This is 16 and this is 12, which means the quantity has increased, and this is the ratio in which we have increased this quantity. Now let's move on to the second example, and first of all we'll try to interpret the question before answering. Pay attention so that you don't miss any of the steps. In our second example, it reads as such: the final score of a student in her final exams dropped in the ratio 7:4 from her past year. If the final score is 350 marks, what was her score before? Now, first of all, let us interpret the question. The present score has dropped. It means the former score was higher, and they are asking us for the former or the past score. Therefore, we are going to move from the present score, which has dropped, to the past score, which was higher. And in this case, we are supposed to increase the present score to a certain mark, which was the previous score and which was higher than the present score. Present score or present mark is equal to 350. Ratio is equal to 7:4. Therefore, previous score or previous mark will be equal to, if we are supposed to increase, then the bigger number should be above 7/4, and we multiply by the present score, which is 350/1. We multiply across. This will be 7 times 350 is equal to 2450/4. And if you divide this properly, it's going to give a total of 612.5 marks. Here we'll notice that her former score was 612.5 marks, contrary to the present score, which is 350, because it dropped. Remember, it went down. So it was this and has gone down to 350. If this is understood, then we can move on to the next aspect, which is decreasing in a given ratio. B, decreasing by a given ratio. Just like increasing, it says express the ratio as a fraction. But this time around, the smaller number should be the numerator and not the larger number like in increasing. So here, the smaller number will be the numerator, and you multiply that fraction by the quantity you have to decrease. Let's look at this first example. Example 1 says, reduce 36 miles in the ratio 8:9. What we are supposed to do here is to decrease this distance by this ratio. So what do we need here? We need the distance or length, any of them. Distance is equal to 36 miles, and the ratio is equal to 8:9. Therefore, decreased or reduced distance will be equal to smaller number above, which is 8/9, and we multiply by the distance, which is 36 all over 1. 9 here 1 time, and 9 into 36 4 times. 8 times 4 is going to give us 32 miles. If we are to compare the new distance to the old distance, we'll find out that it has dropped from 36 to 32. And remember, we are asked to reduce or to decrease the distance. Let's move on to the last example of the day. And of course, we have to be very keen because this also requires some interpretation. Read with caution and be keen to the various steps so that you don't miss out. Our second example says, a boy was asked to decrease $1,600 in the ratio 4:5. Instead, he increased the amount in the ratio 5:4. A is asking us what his answer was. B is asking what the answer ought to be. And C is by how much was he wrong. In the first question here, what he did was he instead increased. So in this case, we are supposed to increase this amount in this ratio. Amount is equal to $1,600. And the ratio 5:4. Therefore, increased amount will be equal to $1,600 times, we are increasing, so the bigger number should be above and the smaller one below. You can express this over 1. 4 here 1 time, and 4 into 1,600 will be 400. 400 times 20 is going to give us $2,000. This is what his answer was. B, what ought to be the answer? What ought to be the answer is he was asked to decrease. Therefore, we are supposed to decrease in B. Amount is the same, $1,600. And the ratio in this case is different. The decrease ratio here is 4:5. Therefore, decreased amount will be equal to $1,600 over 1 times decrease. So the smaller number should be above, 4/5. 5 here 1 time. 5 into 16 3 times. Remember 1. 5 into 10 2, and 5 into 0 0. 350 times 4 is going to give us a total of $1,280. This is what ought to be the correct answer because he was asked to decrease, and this is less than the original amount, 1,600. So if he did it the correct way, it would have been $1,280. Now let's look at C, which is asking us by how much was he wrong. Here we find the difference between the increased amount and the decreased amount. Difference will be equal to $2,000 minus $1,280. This is going to give us a total or the difference of $720. This is by how much he went wrong. If this is understood, then we've come to the end of what we had for you today. We believe you've learned something, and if you did, always consider giving us a thumbs up. Share this lesson so that some other person can benefit, and subscribe so that you won't miss any of our videos. We post twice every week. If you want to know more about Work and Philanthropy Foundation, you can go to our website at www.wapfu.com. In our next lesson, we are going to be sharing or dividing quantities by a given ratio. Do not afford to miss this lesson. It's going to be wonderful. See you in our next lesson. It is goodbye from us.